Have you ever thought that carrying a simple item with you could bring a lifetime of positivity, peace, and resilience? Imagine transforming everyday objects, things we see so often we barely notice them, into powerful tools for personal empowerment. In today's journey, we're diving into how traditional practices can unlock the potential of ordinary items to enrich our lives in extraordinary ways. We'll focus on 3 simple yet profound items: cloves, garlic, and a key. Each of these carries ancient wisdom with its own unique symbolism, offering us guidance for attracting good fortune, safeguarding inner peace, and embracing new opportunities. These are more than rituals. They're small actions that open the door to mindfulness, purpose, and intention. Join us as we reveal the deeper meanings behind these items, and discover how they can become personal beacons of growth, balance, and prosperity.
Cloves and financial luck. When we begin a new practice, especially one with spiritual significance, that focuses on positive energy, one of the first benefits we might notice is a shift in our perception and how we view the world around us. In the case of cloves, a common spice with deep symbolism across many cultures, this practice helps us foster a grateful, optimistic attitude and generate positive energy to welcome good things into our lives. For instance, some people share that simply holding a few cloves in their hand helps them feel a shift in their mindset. Cloves become a sort of spiritual reminder, making us more aware of the ability to attract luck, not just financially but in how we view life as a whole. A popular fictional story illustrates this. A farmer carries a few cloves in his pocket, hoping for a bountiful harvest. Season after season, he not only reaps successful crops but also finds peace, gratitude, and a deeper understanding that life's true wealth comes from a grateful heart. This story reminds me of Anathapindika, a wealthy merchant and devoted supporter of the Buddha. He was not only known for his wealth but also for his kindness and willingness to help others. One of his most famous stories is about his decision to build a monastery for the Buddha and his disciples. During the construction, he encountered financial hardships, yet, instead of worrying, he focused on his faith and generosity. Eventually, support came from unexpected sources, enabling him to complete the monastery. This story reminds us that real wealth goes beyond material possessions. It includes the richness of kindness, trust, and community. Simple acts like keeping cloves in your pocket, from a Buddhist perspective, are not merely about good luck. They are ways to cultivate mindfulness in daily life. It's not about luck, but rather about setting intentions aligned with values of compassion and generosity. Each time we touch the cloves, we are reminded to live with gratitude and to pursue meaningful goals. Garlic for protection. Garlic has a long history across many cultures, as not only a spice but also a symbol of protection. In some cultures, people hang garlic in doorways or kitchens not just to ward off evil spirits, but to shield their living space from negative energy. Garlic thus becomes a symbol of protection and a reminder to preserve inner peace and guard against negative external influences. For me, using garlic is not just about hanging or carrying it but also about using it as a reminder to maintain calmness and peace in challenging situations. Once, when I was under significant pressure at work and in personal relationships, I practiced holding a clove of garlic in my palm, closing my eyes, and visualizing a protective light surrounding me. Each time I did this, I felt my mind relax, allowing me to face difficulties with greater calmness. Buddhism emphasizes the power of intentional living, and using garlic as a ritual is a perfect example of this. It reminds us to take proactive steps to guard our peace and protect our minds from negative influences. Small practices like these help us develop resilience and mental stability, reminding us that true strength comes from within. and from a steady mind. Key talisman for new opportunities. Keys have always been symbols of new beginnings, open doors, and opportunities in life. In practice, a key also symbolizes mental readiness to embrace the unknown. Carrying a key as a talisman of good fortune can represent a commitment to personal growth, self-reflection, and mental preparation for the challenges ahead. I remember a time when a friend shared that he carried an old key in his pocket as a symbol of hope and readiness to open up to new possibilities. His story about that key was a testament to his determination to face all life's challenges and see each opportunity as a door waiting to be opened. It serves as a reminder that life is full of potential, and we only need to be willing to open the door. According to Buddhist teachings, mindfulness and setting intentions are essential foundations for pursuing our dreams. Practices like carrying a key help us stay focused on our personal goals and commitments, while also preparing us for the arrival of new opportunities. As we conclude, let's reflect on the true power behind cloves, garlic, and the key. It's not the items themselves that bring transformation, but rather the intentions and awareness we cultivate through these practices. They serve as gentle reminders to stay connected to our purpose, grounded in gratitude, and open to life's abundance. The journey to lasting peace and happiness often begins with small, mindful actions. By practicing these traditional rituals with intentionality and openness, we create a foundation for personal growth and resilience. Now, we invite you to share your own experiences or personal practices in the comments below. Let's build a community of shared insights and growth. And if you found value in today's exploration, remember to like, share, and subscribe to stay connected with more wisdom and practical guidance. Thank you for joining us. May this journey of mindful living lead to a life filled with peace, purpose, and fulfillment.